Hi everyone, it's Shauna from Pulse Cardiac Health. We just got back and realized how hot it is out here already. So I wanted to take a quick moment to talk to you about exercising in the heat. So your body works really hard to keep your core temperature the same. So whether you're outside in the cold or outside in the hot, your body has a bunch of systems that it'll do or processes it'll do to try and keep your core temperature pretty close to the same. It's called homeostasis. It wants to keep things normal and the same. So when we're out in the heat, what it does is it diverts the blood from deep inside up to the surface so the heat can dissipate off the surface. We start to sweat, the sweat evaporates and helps to cool us. And so when the blood's diverted up to the surface, a couple of things happen. One, your muscles aren't getting that same amount of blood volume, and that blood is what your muscles use for fuel. So your muscles aren't getting the same amount of fuel, so they might tire a little easier. And also your organs aren't getting that same amount of fuel, blood flow, including your heart. So when your heart goes to beat, you have to remember there's two kind of blood pathways to your heart. There's the actual where your heart is filling up with blood and pushing it out to the rest of your body for your circulatory system. So if the blood's being diverted to the surface instead of to your heart, when it goes to fill, that volume is less. So it doesn't have as much blood to push out, but it knows it has a certain amount of circulation that it has to keep pumping. So in order to compensate, your heart starts to beat faster. So your heart rate will go up when it's hot outside. And also, you've got those vessels on the outside of your heart, your coronary arteries, that fuel your heart muscle itself so it can actually contract. And so those vessels aren't getting the same amount of blood flow either. So your heart might tire a little bit sooner too. So not only are you asking it to work harder because it has to increase its rate, increase your heart rate, but it's also not getting the same amount of fuel to feed it either. So exercising in the heat is really, really hard on the heart. So there's a couple of things we want to do to try and make that a little bit better for us. One, we want to try and exercise early in the morning and late in the evening when the temperature is a little bit cooler. You want to try and dress more appropriately, so wearing a wide brimmed hat to try and keep the sun off of you a little bit if you can, and wear clothing that isn't cotton. Cotton tends to get sweaty and kind of wet and sticks to you versus breathable and able to let that perspiration flow off of you and evaporate and help to cool you off a little bit. With our body system, our blood pressure is also going to drop a little bit when we're out in the heat. And because we're sweating, we get a little bit more dehydrated, which also lowers that blood pressure too. So you want to make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated. So drink lots of water well before you go to exercise and bring water with you as well. Recognize that you're not going to be able to do as much as you normally would. So you may have to slow down the pace a little bit, and you may not be able to go for as long as you normally do. You may have to take a few extra breaks as well. So I hope that makes sense. Really try and just be cautious about it and try and use the weather as much as you can in terms of exercising in the morning and the evening versus in the heat of the day. All right, I hope that is helpful for you, and we'll talk again. Bye.